Hi friends! Today I want to walk you through my daily journaling and planning system for 2026, what notebooks I'm using, how I use them, and more importantly, why I've chosen this particular setup for the year ahead. These won't be the only notebooks I'll be using. If you've seen my video on my notebook system I've posted before, you know that would be a lot. What I'm sharing today are just the notebooks that get regular, daily, or almost daily use. Things like my commonplace book, ink journals, or more occasional notebooks live alongside the system, but they're not part of my everyday rotation. Some of the notebooks in this system are ones I've already been using and will continue into 2026. Others are new additions or replacement for things I was doing in 2025 that I want to change up a bit. The first and probably most important notebook in this system is my daily journal. I chose the Midori MD Codex One Day One Page A5 notebook for this. This is where I do most of my memory keeping. I write about what happened during the day, things I noticed, conversations I had, how certain moments made me feel, just general daily things. I've been using this particular notebook since November of 2025, and it's easily the one I spend the most time writing in. I try to write every day. I don't always succeed. I miss days here and there, and I've made peace with that. This journal isn't something I'm strict about. It's not meant to be impressive or productive. It's just meant to be a place I return to as consistently as I can. I do try to keep it nice and pretty, with decorations and using specific pen and ink combo for each month, depending on the vibe I'm going for. It's not particularly for showing off to anyone, but rather my own enjoyment. I found decorating this journal quite fun and therapeutic too. It satisfies my need for some aesthetic and order, and it became a big part of my journaling process. One intentional choice I made with this journal was choosing blank pages instead of dot grid or grid. I like having the freedom to write as small as I want, to let my lines drift a little, and not feel like I'm wasting space if my handwriting shrinks or expands depending on my mood. Most of the formatting I use here carries over from last year. But the way I actually write, whether it's messy cursive or neater print, really depends on the day. Some days I'm careful and my penmanship looks nice and neat. Some days I'm tired or mad or something else, and everything looks a bit messy. Some days my handwriting looks like it belongs to someone else entirely. And I'm actively trying to let that be okay. A big theme for me going into 2026 is letting go of the impulsive need for perfection, especially in something that's meant to serve me privately. One small detail I really love about this notebook is that the bottom right corner of each page is perforated. I tear it off as I go, which gives me a visual sense of how far into the notebook I am. Because of this design, this notebook doesn't come with a built-in ribbon bookmark, but I'm very used to having one, so I attached my own. I used this attachable ribbon bookmark from Muji, which I attached to the back page. And because I'm clumsy, I knew I needed to protect this clean and minimalist cover, so I also bought the Midori plastic cover for the Codex. So far, it has protected the cover from accidental splashes of ink and coffee and tea. The next notebook in my system is my morning pages. I use a Leuchtturm 1917 hardcover A5 notebook that I got on sale for this. I'll be honest, I'm not the most consistent with this practice, but I do write in this notebook most mornings. If you haven't heard of morning pages before, it's a journaling practice that comes from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. The idea is simple. First thing in the morning, you write continuously and without stopping, usually 3 pages, whatever is on your mind. There's no structure, no editing, no intention to reread it. It's not meant to be good writing. The purpose is to clear mental clutter and make space for clearer thinking and creativity throughout the day. The goal isn't clarity on the page, it's clarity in my head. This notebook holds some of my most unfiltered thoughts. Some of them are coherent, some of them are barely readable, and that's exactly what it's for. This is the notebook where I allow myself to be completely messy, uncaring, and undecorated. There's no attempt at nice handwriting, aside from the first few entries where I somehow spent hours writing tiny, careful letters before remembering what this notebook was actually meant for. There's no structure, no logic, no expectation that anything written here will ever be revisited. I just let my hand move and put down whatever my brain happens to spill out. Some mornings it's worries, some mornings it's to-do lists disguised as thoughts. Some mornings it's absolute nonsense. But almost always, I end a session feeling lighter than when I started. This is my passport-sized traveler's notebook, which is essentially my pocket notebook, the one that lives in my bag and goes with me everywhere. Inside, I keep 4 inserts for different purposes, but the most used one by far is the basic pocket notebook insert. This is where I jot down everything I need to remember. I've learned that if something lives only in my phone, especially if it's not a task with a reminder, I will forget it exists. Writing it down physically helps it stick in my brain in a way digital notes just don't. I actually just finished one of my pocket notebook inserts recently. Instead of buying a replacement, I decided to make one myself, from designing the cover to binding the notebook. It's simple, but I'm really proud of it. There's something deeply satisfying about using something you made with your own hands, especially for something as everyday as note-taking. It makes the act of writing feel a little more intentional. I also just finished my mini wandering journal. I don't go out very often, so this notebook documents the moments when I do. Events, meeting friends, trying a new place, small outings that break the routine. Now that it's finished, I'm replacing that insert with a very inexpensive craft paper insert I picked up from KKV. Surprisingly, the paper is fountain pen friendly. No feathering, no bleed through, and it costs only 29 baht, which is less than $1. Sometimes good stationery doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to work. Next is my weekly planner. Yes, I chose the Kinmore Weekly instead of a Hobonichi Weeks. I'm moving from an A5 bullet journal to a much smaller planner this year. And before committing to something as expensive as a Hobonichi, I wanted to be absolutely sure that the layout works for me. 2026 is very much a testing year for me. Unfortunately, Kinmore didn't use the Bachwan or Tomoe River paper in their weekly planners this year. The Kinmore paper doesn't handle bleed-through very well, even with gel pens, so I've been sticking to ballpoints in this planner, which honestly is fine. I do have quite a few of them, and my absolute favorite is this Uniball Zento pen. It uses a water-based ballpoint or rollerball style ink, which dries reasonably fast compared to the classic gel inks, so it usually holds up better than a typical gel pen under a highlighter. Layout-wise, the Kinmore Weekly is almost identical to the Hobonichi Weeks. There's actually a bit more writing space since there are no weekly quotes at the bottom. If this planner works well for me throughout 2026, I'll likely switch to a Hobonichi Weeks in 2027, so I can comfortably use fountain pens again. But for now, I want to see this planner through. I already have it, and I don't want to be wasteful. I'd rather learn from a full year of use than abandon it halfway because it isn't perfect. The last notebook in this system is my 5-year journal. I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and I finally picked one up when I found it for half off during a clearance sale. This is the Leuchtturm 1917 Some Lines a Day 5-year memory book. It is massive, and so it will stay on my desk. The idea is that even on days when I don't feel like having a long journaling session, I can still write 1 or 2 lines about the day. If you're not familiar with journals like this, each calendar day gets 1 page, divided into 5 small sections, 1 for each year. There are similar journals from different brands, like the Hobonichi 5-year Techo, the Midori 5-year diary, and the Charleben 5-year book. There are smaller and larger variations like a 3-year diary or even a 10-year one. You can use it however you want. Some people write a snapshot of the day, some write something they want to remember, some turn it into a gratitude journal. I like the idea of slowly building a quiet record of my life over time, without pressure. So these are the 5 notebooks that will feature most heavily in my daily life this year. Going into 2026, I'm really trying not to put pressure on myself to make any of them perfect. With the new additions, I'm giving myself time to get used to them, to let the system settle, and to see what actually works for me in practice, not just in theory. Whether you're a one-notebook person or someone who keeps a few like I do, I hope this gives you some ideas, or at least reassurance that there's no single right way to journal. I'm wishing you smooth writing and happy journaling in 2026. Thank you so much for listening. That's all for today. Bye!